So while Rimuru was in the kingdom of Ingracia helping out Shizu's students, the city was being taken care of by Benimaru and the others. But while he's away, word of his absence got out, and when the kingdom of Falmuth caught wind of this, they immediately got to plotting on taking over Tempest. One half was on board with taking over by force because, they believe monsters shouldn't have any rights, while the other half wanted to peacefully coexist with the monsters, especially since they built a nation for themselves. But because of the king's greed, they decide on the first option, so they enlist these three, and their mission is to go to Tempest to instigate the monsters in hopes of them retaliating, which will give them a reason to invade, because they can't without one. And when they arrive in Tempest, they successfully instigate a fight between them, and they start boxing it out on the streets. But while that is happening, a barrier that weakens any type of monster gets put up around the city, and it took effect immediately, putting our guys at a disadvantage. And that's when Commander Falgen and his knights pull up on horseback with the intention of killing any monster they come across indiscriminately. And after all that carnage and destruction, he tells the survivors that he's gonna come back in a week to eradicate the remaining monsters because he refuses to acknowledge a city built by them. And he doing all this in the name of God, by the way. I don't know which scriptures he be reading, but it said that love thy neighbor, not burn down thy house. But that's when Slime came back, and he finds his city in ruin, buildings demolished, blood splattered on the streets, and the injured being tended to. But worst of it all was seeing the lined up dead bodies on the ground, and I couldn't imagine seeing this many bodies of the people I love. This is gut-wrenching. And after seeing all this, he gets upset, and with him being in this state, crashing out was inevitable, and he lets out this overwhelming aura out of anger. So they decide to give him some alone time, and after some time to himself, he decides to eliminate everyone involved in this massacre, that being the entire Falmuth army. But while he does that, he gives the task of removing the barrier to his top commanders, and all they gotta do is destroy the crystals maintaining the barrier and wipe out everyone in their way, and they head out to do exactly that. And before we proceed, I just want to come on here and say welcome to the channel. This is the first commentary video on the channel, and I'll be uploading more like this alongside the short edits that I make. You can check them out on my YouTube Shorts section or my TikTok, links in the description. And I was actually gonna drop a longer video covering the entire Falmouth arc, but for now I just dropped this portion of that arc and drop the full one later when I have more XP with these types of videos. And if you enjoyed the video, well, you know the drill. Just hit the sub button for me to get notified of my future uploads. Drop me a like and let me know in the comments if you enjoyed the video, to be honest. Alright, let me not take up more of your time, and let's get started. So we start this off with Benimaru. He arrives with the group of knights ready to clear them out all by himself. And as he slowly approaches, this guy sees him and he's like,
"Yo, who the fuck is this nigga?"
He tells him to stop. If he takes any more steps, they finna be his last. But if you look at Benimaru's face right here, bro's not trying to hear none of that. He on his demon time right now. And he proceeds to tell them this.
Apologies. Unfortunately, you're about to take the brunt of my fury.
That alone convinced me on what he's about to do to them. And he wastes no time. He grabs his sword, pulls it out, and it's in black flames. Nah, he really had his sword in flames while it was in the scabbard. How strong is that thing? And he really pulled out a sword that has an Amaterasu on it. And these guys didn't put two and two together that no weak monster can do that. So they should be considering other options here. Like, getting the fuck out of there. And I don't know how you could see that and still want to be here. Because if I was there, I would have been moving my feet the other direction as soon as he pulled out a sword engulfed in black flames. I'm not staying to find out what that sword do. Because look at how he does them. He dashes in, cutting these two, and while they're getting set on fire, he's gonna slash the remaining three before they could even react. And he goes to the ones near the crystal, but hold on though. Replay that. That sounded way more brutal than it looked. Did he just blow them up? I don't think swords are supposed to do that. I really thought I was going to be seeing blood being splattered and limbs flying all over the place. But instead, He's slashing and setting them ablaze, and at the same time, they implode from that extreme heat. Yeah, he really making sure none of them survive this. That black flame is turning everything it touches to the ground and leaving nothing but ash. The cleanup crew have their work cut out for them this time. They just need a broom and a dustpan to clear out the ashes for real. And he comes back in hitting these and puts these two down. And you see him in the back hitting a sonic dash while he slashes the ones near the crystal. Bro's really doing anything to put these guys down. Forget fighting a Kijin, they're out here fighting Samurai Sonic with a flaming blade. But he's not done yet, because he's gonna scope out the rest, and he heads in dashing again, and he cuts through them with such finesse, and all that you're seeing is
Bodies, 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 bodies!
he himself is nowhere to be seen. And when we get to the last guy, he is looking petrified. I would be too. And what he says here is crazy.
Nobody warned me that there would be any monsters this deadly.
Like, bro, what do you mean nobody told you? Did y'all get dragged out here and then get told about the monsters occupying these woods? I thought it was common knowledge that the storm dragon was running these woods even when he was locked up. And we all know what type of demon he was. And I know that they know he has disappeared, but a dude like me would have come to the conclusion that maybe the ruler of these monsters is the one responsible behind the disappearance of Valdora. And if that's the case, he must be strong as hell, as well as his subordinates. So I'm not trying to really mess around with them like that. And them thinking like this would have probably saved their lives, but instead, they came out here only to get touched once by this demon and their entire existence was no more. Benimaru quite literally cleared out this entire area with nearly 100 of them from the moment he pulled out their sword. Bro, these guys stood no chance. They should have stayed their asses at home for real. And if I was the last guy, I would have been sick as hell. There's no way I just watched all this go down. Bro, who was in charge of drafting this? But he gets cut in half, and Benimaru finishes this off by destroying the crystal, making that 1 out of 4 crystals down. And he hits this victory air pose while he's talking about some.
Surely no one is pitiful enough to need my help.
But he ain't gotta worry about all of that, because the other groups are more than prepared for this task. And we start off with Gabiru coming in with his gang, and before they even attack, bro starts giving himself praise.
I'm the one known as Rimuru. Remember me well, humans, or I'm the last creature you'll meet.
Literally glazing himself before the battle, which is crazy. Imagine he did all of that just to get bodied in the next scene. Bro, that would have been embarrassing. But he's gonna fly down there and spears the ground, hitting them with an AoE. And his homeboys coming with that dragon's breath, and they start scorching everyone and everything down there, destroying the crystal while they're at it. And so his group decides to go in with the stealth option, unnoticeably tying them up with steel threads. And when they did notice, well, slimed them out so fast even Soka had to apologize, talking about some.
Master Soe, please forgive us. We thought our foes would be stronger. As a result, our attacks lacked moderation.
So it would seem.
And after that, he destroys the crystal, making it 3 crystals down and 1 more to go. And with our last group heading to it right now. And this last part genuinely pisses me off, and that is because of these two. Now, I really can't stand cocky people, and these two are exactly that. And you wanna know what's crazy? These two bums cannot back up all their shit talking. Because tell me why Shogo's gonna say this?
Because this fist of mine is itching to cause some mayhem.
Now, I know they're supposed to make him sound tough, but since it's him, that shit sounded ass, I'm not gonna lie. And I don't know why he's talking like this, when earlier on we see him struggling to put down Shion, who was nerfed to the ground because of that barrier. And not only that, she almost took his head off right here, almost put him 6 feet under, and he's still talking some bullshit like this. Like, bro, I don't know who gets you up like this, but you are not that guy, bro, trust me. But our last group arrives, and it's time for that get back. And look how happy he is. Bro thinks he's up for real. So when they head down there, bro's confused that it's just 4 guys. Talking about some, that's it? Nah, why does he think he's better than he actually is? The weakest one in that group can smoke his pack with ease. Does he even know what's about to happen to him? And when they pull up, no time is wasted. They immediately head in, with Gapto jumping up, pulls out the sword to use the sheath and shoots out a lightning bolt, destroying the ground near them to create a smoke screen. And that created the perfect stage for him, because he heads back down there to sneak them using the smoke, with Rieger joining in. And as they're doing that, They sense Geld trying to tag himself in for the team combo, so they jump up and he charges his attack. And he stomps the ground, sending shockwaves knocking these guys off balance, with Gobta and Rieger heading back down to finish the play. And I'm watching this peak performance straight geeked. This is an elite team combo. No words had to be said, just straight lobs and finishes. I wish my ranked teammates were moving like this. And while all that is happening, we see this dude laughing and he still thinks this is gonna go their way. Yeah, alright. And he comes in with his goofy air walk, and with Gobta staring him down like this, I was ready to see him put in that work. I know my boy would have exposed him right there. I really hoped he was gonna be the one to put belt to ass on this guy. But unfortunately, there will be Geld's light work, and with Shogo getting ready to attack. He comes in and they clash, but before we can get to that, we gotta see what Unk is up to. Now Unk here has a problem. After that little fight they had earlier, he realized how sadistic this cocky bastard is. He purposely missed his vital spots just so he could watch him suffer through the pain. He could have ended Unk right here, but he was like, nah, this not enough, and left him there to suffer. And Unk took that as disrespect, and he has made it his top priority to personally put him down. And as they're talking, Kyoya is gonna try to sneak Unk using his spatial movement. But Unk is not nerfed anymore, and he reads him like a book, blocking his attack with ease. And nah, making this face after all that talking is wild. Did you really think he came out here to lose twice? To you? Idiot. But he backs up after feeling the ominous aura coming from Unk, and he tries to act unfazed by saying Unk couldn't even touch him earlier when they fought, and he is not afraid. Nah, he cope maxing right now. Hasn't he realized that the barrier was his only chance of beating this man? And now that he's out of it, he literally stands no chance of winning this fight. He's only still alive right now because Unk wants the truth to come with despair. He's teasing him right now. But he's gonna propose that they settle this using only their swords, and Unk complies, and they have their standoff. But when I saw his smirk right here, I knew this dumbass was plotting something stupid. So he shoots the blade, and mid-flight it multiplies, and he bursts out laughing thinking this is a smart play. But Unk simply with one swing deflects all the blades to the ground. And when he sees Unk still standing there unharmed, bro's looking perplexed because he didn't even see what Unk did just now. But you wanna know what's funny? In the manga, he literally deflects the blades back at him, and he tells him to go seek medical aid before he bleeds to death. Nah, he making fun of him in the middle of the fight. This is some shit you see Ichigo doing for real. Man's called an ambulance before he put these guys in a blender. And you would think after all this he would come to the conclusion that maybe he has overly underestimated Unk, and escaping would be a great idea right now. But this idiot, with all three of his brain cells working together, he decides to make the illogical decision of still trying to fight Unk. Oh hell nah, bro, how dumb can you be? But I cannot blame him here. Unk literally rage baited him by calling him a shitty swordsman, and damn, did the words cut you that deep? And when he goes to attack again, with all his skills activated this time, you still see him unable to connect. Unk is effortlessly weaving all his strikes, while Buddy over here is yapping about how his skills work. Nah, he really thinks we're listening? But Unk nonchalantly inquires about those eyes. He's like, how much can you see with those eyes? And he's over here wondering what does that mean. And Unk tells him that his body's movements should be catching up to him momentarily. And after that statement, Unk pulls out his sword and hits him with this. Water breathing, 13th form. And he takes his head schmoove off, grabs it, and before his timer runs out, he tells him to thoroughly reflect on how much of a bum he is. With Unk hitting this pose looking tough as hell, I'm not gonna lie. And this ends the fight between Hakuro and Kyoya. And when we get back, we see Shogo going in for a hard left, but Geld blocks that and he throws around to kick, but still can't penetrate his defense. So Geld swings and Shogo is back. And after seeing all this, he tries to bait Geld into dropping the shield on some... Nah, using a shield in a fist fight is pussy, not gonna lie. Couldn't be me for real. But Geld, just like me, he ain't falling for the bait, and he stands his guard. And when Shogo sees that his bait failed, he's like, meh, I'm warmed up anyway, so let me lock in. and he powers up his skill Berserker, and with a name like that, I expect him to cook up something crazy here. Then he's gonna hit total concentration, and he dashes in to clash again, but this time, he actually breaks the shield. And I'm watching this proud as hell. He finally did something. Good job. I don't know why the anime decided not to include this part, but in the manga, Geld literally pulls out another shield. Nah, he really pulled out another one on some...
Oh no. Anyway.
On some...
What are you going to do about the second one, Onoki?
Bro, I would be sick. This is what fighting a Watson in Apex Legends feels like. She's too OP. But after breaking the shield, he starts beating on Geld, and he doing this shit smiling ear to ear like he doing something. Because if you look closely, this man is not even flinching from these attacks. Bro's getting a free massage mid-squabble, I'm crying. But while he's attacking Geld, he gets sneaked by Geld's skill, and the pain had him tweaking out, even had him on his bums, trying to bargain for his life. But Geld ain't trying to hear all of that, as he towers over him, getting ready to take his life. It's over. But before he could do that, Hakuro pulls up, and when Shogo sees him, he starts wondering where is his mans. And Ankh just tosses Kyoya's severed head right next to him. And this is crazy. You telling me he took that dude's head, put his hands behind him, with head on hand by the way, and strolled all the way to Geld just to toss it at him? Nah, they really took that shit seriously. He trying to instill fear in Lil Bro's soul, make him feel true despair, and it worked. Because he's gonna take a look at that severed head, and he takes off running. And nah, showing your ass after all that talking is embarrassing. But what he does next is truly diabolical. He gets in the tent where his homegirl Kirara is at. Not this one, but this one. And while Kirara is yapping about whatever, he tells her he ain't trying to hear all of that. And he chokes the life out of her. And he doing this with a smile too. And after doing that, he gains a new defensive skill called Survivor, which allows him to heal all the damage he takes. And I'm gonna repeat what I said with Kyoya here. And you would think after all this, he would come to the conclusion that maybe he has overly underestimated Ankh, and escaping would be a great idea right now. But this idiot, with all three of his brain cells working together, he decides to make the illogical decision of still trying to fight Ankh. Because he comes out of the tent and sees the guy who was beating his ass, and proceeds to successfully instigate round 2 by using the F word on Geld. And you know these big dudes don't play about that. So Geld is like,
"You asked if I know how to throw a punch!"
And when he dashes in with a punch, he gets weaved. Bro getting the gun treatment. And he gets punched so hard, it sends him flying, with Geld chasing him down, jumps up, and kicks him back down. And when the smoke clears, you see him putting hands on him, going... But he's healing all this using his new skill, but Geld ain't finna dismiss that, because he lets out his skill, and it takes a chomp on this man, and he starts screaming for dear life, and with Geld continuing to beat on him. And this last punch had me feeling sorry for the guy. Like, damn! But he picks him up, and now he wants to apologize, talking about he ain't mean all of that. And I quote, "It was just a joke." And nah, bruh. You see the lengths people will go to in order to rage bait you? They'll literally kill your whole family and then be like, "Chill bro, it's only a prank." There go the camera right there. Sickening world we live in. But he lets him down, and he pulls out all 72 inches of cleaver and prepares to take his life. And he tries to run away again. But this time, there's no way out of this one. You're done. Nah. This bum-ass, weak-ass, slow-ass, dumb-ass idiot got saved. And Razin a better man than me because I would have let him get smoked right there. He stayed talking shit about him. But Razin checks Geld's build and he sees that he's way too much to handle. So he's like, they gotta get the fuck out of there. But Geld was not finna let them slide. And he's gonna charge in and...
Don't get any closer!
Very clever.
Nah, as we've just seen, this man Razin done set up a bomb, upon pulling up from out of nowhere, and he baited Geld into the trap by making him think they're retreating. Bro, this would have been an elite play if Hakuro didn't peep that. And this is where these unks start calling each other out for being old, and this is frying me. This old man calls another old man old as seen, but he tells them that fighting the two of them right now would be a pain, so he gotta go. But if they survive, he's sure they'll meet on the battlefield. But Hakuro's like, nah, we won't.
While you waste your time with us, our ruler is making his way toward that very battlefield. Little do you know that you've gone too far. You've managed to anger the one person whose rage you should fear the most. You have my sympathy. I doubt your death will be painless.
3,729, 4,214, 4,803, 5,575.
But Razin is like, old man to old man, I'll keep your word in mind. And they leave. And that's when Geld asks if letting them dip was a good idea. But Unk reveals that he strapped himself with nuclear magic. Not explosive magic, but nuclear magic. Bro would have turned this entire area into Mali if they beat his ass. So I guess Hakuro made a good call here, especially out of consideration for Gobser and Rieger back there. Because if they set off that nuke, it would have had them looking like Armin right now, straight scorched. And with that, it makes the last crystal destroyed and the barrier successfully removed. And Shuna, along with Muron, put up a new one. And that leaves the remaining army of nearly 20,000 and him standing above them, getting ready to wipe them out. And when he lets it off,
may the wrath of the gods pierce you.
and that's the end of the video. I appreciate you for making it this far, so here's a little something for you. And I'm guessing you did enjoy the video, so I might as well hit that sub button for me and tell me the parts that you liked about the video in the comments, and I shall catch you on the next. Peace out.